Hi, this is Karthik. Welcome you all for this session. In this session, I'm going to teach you Introduction to Algorithm and Flowchart. Once again, I repeat the topic, Introduction to Algorithm and Flowchart. So why we need an algorithm and a flowchart? So you may ask a question. Why we want to go for algorithm, flowchart, and we want to write a program? Instead, we can directly write a program. What's the problem? So the answer is algorithm and flowchart are primary tools for learning programming. If you wish to learn a program, the primary tool is algorithm and flowchart. You want to plot your requirements in steps, it is called as algorithm. And you want to convert the steps into diagram, that is a flow or a process, it's called as a flowchart. So algorithm and flowchart plays an important role in software programming by defining the steps and the process flow that are required to achieve a task. So in a programming, algorithm and flowchart plays an important role. Why? Algorithm is used to define the steps that are involved in achieving a task, and flowchart explain the flow or process of a program. So algorithm and flowcharts are very important in a programming. So we can create error and bug free program using algorithm and flowchart. So if you wish to create error free programs using algorithm and flowchart, so we can create error and bugs free program using algorithm and flowchart. If your algorithm and flowchart is very clear, then your program will be of error free and bugs free. Now we are going to see what is an algorithm. An algorithm is a step-by-step process to achieve a task, right? So it's a step-by-step. Means if you have a complex problem to be solved, you want to break down the complex problem into simple steps. That is called as algorithm. Algorithm or procedure of steps to solve a complex problem with finite number of steps. Right? It's a procedures. It's a rule to be followed. Like step one, do this. Step two, do this. Step three, do this. Okay. If you follow such things, it is called as algorithm. An algorithm is a process or a set of rules to be followed in calculation or in solving an operation, especially by a computer. So if you want to guide a computer, so you want to go for algorithm. It's a step-by-step process. You want to instruction. So you want to give the instruction to the computer. Step one, do this. Step two, do this. Step three, do this. It is called as algorithm. Algorithm refers to a method or a mathematical process for problem solving and engineering algorithms. Right? So what is an algorithm? It's a method or it's a process for solving a problem. If you have a specific problem to be solved, you want to break down the problem into a number of steps. If you break down the problem into a number of steps, it is called algorithm. Now we'll see what is a flowchart. A flowchart is a pictorial representation of an algorithm. What is that pictorial representation? It means that we want to convert the writing into diagram. Why we want to convert the writing into diagram? Since our human brain is having the capacity to analyze the diagram in a faster way. So that is the reason our brain captures more information from an image or a picture. So to get rid of bugs and errors in the program, we should go for flowchart. We want to convert the algorithm into diagrams. It is called as flowchart. A flowchart is a graphical representation of a system or a process. It's a graphical. So where the flow and process will be clearly explained using flowchart. Flowchart is a diagram. Yes, it's a diagram, but explains the workflow or the process. So what it explains is a workflow, where it starts, where it ends, in between this, what is going to happen, and where the process, how the process starts and how the process ends, and where the process flow, everything can be clearly depicted by flowchart. So if we wish to convert the algorithm into flowchart, we should use the following symbols. Let me explain you how to use these symbols. So first comes as a terminal box. It's an oval. So whenever you can see start or end or stop in algorithm, you want to replace the step with this symbol. So this is called as oval or terminal box. And next comes input and output. This is called as parallelogram. For example, in algorithm, if you're using declare or if you're using print, if you want to show or display some value, you want to use parallelogram. Process is nothing but addition, subtraction, Or if you wish to give some instruction in algorithm, so you want to replace that step with the symbol called as rectangle. So it's a process or instruction. Next comes decision. If you wish to have a decision, you want to use a shape called as diamond. So whenever there is if condition in your algorithm, the step to be replaced by decision symbol, that is diamond. Next comes connector and arrow. It explains the flow of the flow chart, right? Where it starts, where it ends, where it goes can be explained by using this arrow mark, or it is called as connector. Next, we are going to see some example for algorithm and flowchart. So, write an algorithm and draw a flowchart to add three numbers. So, what it means? We are having three numbers. We want to add these three numbers. So, to achieve this task, we want to write an algorithm. Then we are going to convert this algorithm into flowchart. So, let me teach you how to do the task. So, first, we are going to write the algorithm. Step one. Always step one in algorithm is going to be start. And step two, we want to inform or we want to declare what are the variables we are going to use. What is the variables? Variables are nothing but the placeholder, right, or containers to hold some value, right? So declare A, B, C. So in A, I'm going to store the first value. In B, I'm going to store the second value. In C, I'm going to store the third value. And why we need some? When I add A plus B plus C, it will give me some result. I want to store that result too. So I'm going to use one more variable called as sum. So there are four variables A, B, C, and sum. Step 3, read. What read means? So now you have the memory. So what is the value? You want to get the value. Who will give the value? User. Whoever is going to use this program, they will provide you the value. So first value I'm going to store it in A, second value I'm going to store it in B, third value I'm going to store it in C. Step 4, sum. I want to calculate the process. I want to do the process. I have the values A, B, and C. So I want to add A plus B plus C. And the result will be stored in sum. Then comes step 5. So print sum. So I want to print the value which is stored in sum. Then stop. So this is an example for algorithm, right? Start. Second is declare, which should inform what are the variables we are going to use in the program. Step 3, get the values from user A, B, and C. Step 4, do the process, that is addition A plus B plus C. Step 5, we want to show the result, that is print sum. Step 6, stop. Now we want to convert this algorithm into flowchart. So what is the step 1? Start. What symbol you want to use? That is the oval. It's a terminator, right? Start and stop. You can see both start and stop. We are using the same symbol. And declare. So if you wish to declare a variable A, B, C, and sum. So in flowchart, you can use rectangle. So I'm going to skip step 2. Since in programming, without declaring a variable, we cannot use it. So I'm going to skip that part. I'm going for step 3. So step 3, read. So read and print. If you want input and output, right? Read means input. You're getting the value from user. Print is output. So for read and print, you want to use parallelogram. You can see read as well as print. We are using parallelogram. So read A, B, and C. And step 4, sum. It's a process, addition, subtraction, or any mathematical process. You want to use rectangle. So I'll be using rectangle to convert the step, sum A plus B. Again, see, print, step 5. So what symbol you want to use is a parallelogram. And step 6, stop. So you start and stop, you want to use the same symbol, oval. Okay. So let me again explain the algorithm and flowchart. Algorithm starts with step 1, start. Step 2, declare. You want to declare what are the variables you're going to use. And step 3, you want to get the values from user A, B, and C. Step 4, once values are there, you want to perform the process, that is addition of three numbers A, B, and C. Step 5, print. And step 6, stop. So we want to convert the steps into diagrams, that is flowchart. So step 1 is start. We want to use the terminator symbol. And step 2, there is no step 2. We'll go for step 3. So read. If you want to convert this read, you want to use parallelogram. Read A, B, and C. Step 4, sum equal to A plus B plus C. So you want to use rectangle to do the process, sum equal to A plus B plus C. And step 5, print. You want to use parallelogram for input and output, print sim, and stop. Start and stop, you want to use the same symbol that is over. Next example is write an algorithm and draw the flowchart to find the average of two numbers. Okay, so what is the task? We want to find out the average of two numbers. For this task, we want to write an algorithm and we want to draw a flowchart. So let me explain you what is meant by average. So average is nothing but you want to add two numbers and you want to divide the result by two. That is called as average. What is an average? You want to add two numbers. If it is the average of two numbers, you want to add two numbers. If it is the average of three numbers, you want to add three numbers and divide by three. If it is the average of four numbers, you want to add all four numbers and divide by four. Now we'll start writing the algorithm. So step one, start. What is step two? We want to declare what are the variables you are going to use in the output. Let us say x for storing the value and y for storing the second value. And to find out the sum, we will be using the variable called as sum, and average. To find out the average, we'll be using a variable called as avg, that is average. Step 3, read. Read, it means that we want to get the values for x and y from user. And step 4, we want to calculate the sum, that is x plus y, and result will be stored in sum. And step 5, that is average. So sum divided by 2, the result will be stored in average. Step 6, print the result, that is average. And step 7, stop. Again, step 1, start. Step 2, declare. You should inform what are the variables you are going to use. X, Y, sum, and average. So we want to get the two value. I'm going to get the first value. I'm going to store it in X. And I'm going to get the second value from the user. I'm going to store it in the variable Y using the keyword read. And step 4, I want to do the process x plus y, and I'm going to store the result in sum. Step 5, I want to find out the average. How? Sum divided by 2. And the result will be stored in average, avg. And I'm going to print the result, that is average, by using the print. And then step 7, stop. Now, once the algorithm is plotted, is written, then we want to convert the algorithm into flowchart. So start as oval. So declare, we are going to skip the step 2. In step 3, read, we want to use parallelogram. So input or read x. And fourth is sum equal to x plus y. There's a rectangle. And fifth, it's also a process, addition, subtraction, right? You want to use rectangle, see, average equal to sum divided by 2. Step 6, print. So print, that is read, and print you want to use parallelogram, see, and here we are used here output average. And last step is stop. Start and stop, you want to use the same symbol. So the next example is write an algorithm and draw a flowchart to calculate the interest of a bank deposit. So again, write an algorithm and draw a flowchart to calculate the interest of a bank deposit. So interest of a bank deposit can be calculated using a formula that is CI, means compound interest is equal to the amount you're going to deposit for years, how many years, what is the rate of interest divided by 100. This is a formula if you wish to calculate the interest of a bank deposit. So we want to use this formula in our algorithm. So let me start the algorithm. Step 1, first step is always start. Step 2, we want to declare what are the variables we want to use or we are going to use in our algorithm. So I need CI, it's a compound interest, and amount, years, and rate. So I'm going to use this thing. That is, declare variables, amount, year, and you can see rate of interest and CI compound interest. Now, step 3, you want to get the values from user. What are the values you need to calculate CI? You need amount, years, and rate. Get these values from user. Read values, amount, years, and rate from user. Now, step 4, you have the values, you want to do the process. It means you want to calculate compound interest equal to amount into years into rate divided by 100. Then step 5, print the value, that is CA compound interest. And step 6, stop. It's a very simple algorithm, right? Let me explain you again. Step 1 starts with start. Step 2, you want to declare what are the variables you're going to use. Declare variables, amount, years, rate, and compound interest. Step 3, you want to get the values from user. What are the values you need? Amount, years, and rate. And compound interest, step 4, you want to calculate the process. That is, CA, compound interest equal to amount multiplied by years multiplied by rate divided by 100. And the result will be stored in CI. So step 5, you want to print the value CI. And step 6, stop. Now we want to convert the steps into diagrams. That is flowchart. Step 1, what is the symbol you want to use? Yes, ovals. Step 1 and step 6, you want to use the same symbol. Step 2, declare. If you wish to use declare in your program, you want to use rectangle. So I'm going to skip step 2. Step 3, read values, amount, years, and read. So what symbol you want to use? Read and print, you want to use parallelogram. So that is, here you can see input amount. That is read amount, read years, and read. If you wish, you can make it as a single step. You can put a parallelogram and you can represent like input amount, comma years, comma read. It's also right. And step 4, you want to calculate. You want to use rectangle. So I'm going to use rectangle, compound interest equal to amount into years into rate divided by 100. And then I'm going to print the CI. If you want to print what symbol you want to use, yes, parallelogram. So output interest or print. And last step is stop. Start and stop, you want to use the same symbol as a terminator or over. Now the next example is write an algorithm and draw a flowchart to find the given number n is odd or even. Again, write an algorithm and draw a flowchart to find the given number n is odd or even. It means that we want to get a number. Let us say the number is n from user, and you want to find out the number is odd or even. Okay, so for this task, we want to write an algorithm, then you want to draw a flowchart. So we'll start with algorithm. Step 1, start. Step 2, declare the variable n. We're going to use only one variable called as n in order to store a value from user. So step 3, read n means that you're going to ask the user to give a value and you'll be storing that value in the variable n. Now we are going for condition. If n mod 2. What is the use of mod? If you wish to get the remainder value, you want to use mod. Okay, what is the use of mod? If you wish to get the remainder value, you want to use mod. If any number mod 2 is equal to 0, that means if the remainder is 0, then the number is an even number. Okay, if the condition is true, this part will execute. If this condition is false, else part will execute. And we are going to stop the program. It's very simple, right? Let me explain you again. Step 1, start. Step 2, declare the variable n. Since we are going to use only one variable, I'm declaring the variable n. And step 3, read. You want to get the value for n using the read. And step 4, we are going for if condition. If n mod 2 means any number mod 2, the remainder is 0, it means that the number is even. So if the condition is true, it will print it's even. If the condition is false, if the remainder is not equal to 0, it will print odd. And we are going to stop the program. Now we want to convert this algorithm into flowchart. So what is step number 1, start? What symbol you want to use? Yes, you want to use over. Declare. If you wish to use step number 2 in your flowchart, you are recommended to use rectangle. So I'm going to skip step 2. I'm going for step 3, read. Read and print what symbol you want to use. Yes, parallelogram. We can see read n. Now condition. If you're using condition in your program, what symbol you want to use? That is diamond. You can see n mod 2 is equal to 0. Why we are using 2 equal to? If you want to make a comparison between two values, you want to use double equal to. And if it is a condition, it is having only two options. One is true or false. If the condition is true, it is going to print it's an even number. If the condition is false, it is going to print it is an odd number. So I'll be using a connector. Since there are two inputs, I'll be using a connector to make it as a single input. And I'm going to stop the process using the symbol stop or it's an oval. So the next example is write an algorithm and draw a flowchart to find the biggest among two numbers. Again, write an algorithm and draw a flowchart to find the biggest among two numbers. Means that we are going to get two values from user and we are going to compare the value and we are going to say which value is bigger. Okay. So for this task, we want to write an algorithm and we want to draw a flowchart. Okay, let me start the algorithm first. Step 1, start. Step 2, how many variables we are in need? We are in need of two variables. Since we want to store only two values, we are in need of two variables. Declare A and B. You can use any variable, let us say X, Y, C, D, any variable you can use. So declare A and B. Step 3, read. So now you want to get the values from user. First value I'll be storing in A, second value I'll be storing in B. And step 4, a is greater than B. So it's a condition, if is a condition, and condition is used. If you wish to use B is greater than A, you can do so. So now I'm going to use A is greater than B. If the condition is true, it will print A is big. If the condition is false, it will print B is big. Again, if A is greater than B. If the condition is true, this part will get executed. And if the condition is false, this part will get executed. Okay, and step 5, I'm going to stop. Okay, now we'll convert this algorithm into flowchart. So what is the symbol you want to use for start? Oval. Okay. Step 2, I'm going to skip. Step 3, read A and B. You want to get the values. Read and print, you want to use parallelogram. Yes, read A and B. And if there is a condition, you want to use a decision symbol, that is diamond. A is greater than B. If it is a condition, it's having only two options. One is true or the one is false. If condition is true, I'm going to print A is big. If the condition is false, I'm going to print B is big. So I'm going to use connector since there are two input. By using connector, I'm going to make it as a single input and I'm going to stop the process. Again, I will explain you the flowchart. It starts with start. So step 1 is start. You want to use oval. Step 2, I'm going to skip. Step 2. Step 3, read. For read and print, you want to use parallelogram, read A and B. Step 4, if condition. I want to use diamond. So if A is greater than B. So if there's a decision or a condition, it is having two options. One is true or false. If the condition is true, I'm going to print A is big. If the condition is false, I'm going to print B is big. I'm going to use connector in order to make it as a single input and I'm going to stop the process. So the next example is write an algorithm and draw a flowchart to print even numbers from 2 to 10. So we want to print the even numbers from 2 to 10. So what are the even numbers? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and it goes on. So it is called as even numbers. You want to print the even numbers starting from 2 to 10. For this task, we want to write an algorithm. We want to draw a flowchart. Let me explain you how to do the task. So step 1, start with starts. You know very well, right? Step 1 always starts with start. Step 2, I am in need of only one variable called as I. So I'm going to declare the variable I. Step 3, I'm going to assign I equal to 2. Why I want to assign I equal to 2? For example, here the starting number is 2. I'm going to use that number, I equal to 2. Then I'm going to print I, the value 2. Then I'm going to increment the I value by 2. Why I should increment the I value by 2? Let us consider 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, for example, the even numbers. So what is the difference between 2 and 4 is 2. And what is the difference between 4 and 6 is 2. So that difference I'm going to have here. So I'm going to increment by 2, I equal to I plus 2. Step 6, if I is less than or equal to 10, since what is the last value 10? I want to print up to this value. So I'm going to have this condition I less than or equal to 10. If the condition is true, it will go to the step 4. What is step 4? Print I. It will print the I and then again it will get incremented and again it will check for the condition. Okay, again if the condition is true, if I value is less than or equal to 10, again it will go to step 4. The process will keep on repeating until I is greater than 10. If I is greater than 10, then it stops. Now we want to convert this algorithm into flowchart. Let me explain you the algorithm. So step 1, start. Step 2, declare. I'm going to skip declare as usual. Step 3, assign. If you want to assign, you want to use a rectangle, that is assign I equal to 2, and then print. Print, you want to use parallelogram, print I, and then process I equal to I plus 2. You want to use rectangle, you know very well, I equal to I plus 2, and then we are going for the condition if you want to use diamond. If it is a condition, you know it is having only two options, true or false. If it is true, it will go to the step 4, that is print I. You can see it is going back to step 4, print I. If it is false, it stops. Again, I will explain you the algorithm once again. It starts with the stop, that is oval. Step 2, there is no declare. We are going to skip this part as usual. If you need this part, you can use rectangle. Step 3, assign. Okay, so assign, you want to use rectangle. Assign I equal to 2. Then print. For input and output, you want to use parallelograms. So print I. And step 5, I equal to I plus 2. It's a process. It's a calculation. So you want to use rectangle. I equal to I plus 2. Next comes the decision. If I is less than or equal to 10. If it is a decision, you want to use a diamond. And once again, if it is a condition, it's having only two options, true or false. If the condition is true, go back to step 4. So it will go back to step 4. If condition is false, the program stops. So the next example is write an algorithm and draw a flowchart to print the odd numbers from 1 to 15. Right? You know what is an odd number? 1, 3, 5, 7, and it goes on. So our task is we want to print the odd numbers starting from 1 in 15. Okay, for this task, we want to write an algorithm. Then we want to convert the algorithm into flowchart. Let me explain you how to do the task. Step 1, always start. Step 2, declare I. I'm in need of only one variable. So I declare the variable I. Assign I equal to 1. Why? The first value is 1. I'm going to use that value. Then print I. I'm going to print the I value. Then I'm going to increment step 5. I equal to I plus 2. Means I'm going to increment the I by 2. Why? For example, 1. What is the next number? 3. What is the difference between 1 and 3? Is 2. And what is the next number after 3? 3, 5. What is the difference? 2. So the difference between each number is 2. So I'm going to increment the number I equal to I plus 2. Next comes the condition. If I less than or equal to 15. Why is 15? Here you can see the last number I want to check is 15. I less than or equal to 15. If the condition is true, it will go back to step 4. It will get incremented by 2. It will check for condition. If the condition is true, it will go to step 4. For example, if condition fails, when condition fails, if I value is greater than 50, then the program stops. Let me explain you the algorithm once again. Step 1, start. Step 2, we want to declare how many variables we are going to use. Step 2, I'm going to use only one variable called I. I declared it. Step 3, assign I equal to 1. So the first value is going to be 1. I use that value here. So print I. I'm going to print the I value. Then step 5, I equal to I plus 2. So I value will be incremented by 2. Why? The difference between each number is 2. That is 1, 3. What is the difference between 1 and 3 is 2. 3, 5. What is the difference between 3 and 2? Sorry, 3 and 5 is 2. So I'll be using 2. Step 6. If I less than or equal to 15. Because the last number is 15, I want to check less than or equal to. If condition is true, it will go back to step 4. So it's a loop. It will keep on repeating unless or until the I value is greater than 15. If I value is greater than 15, then program stops. Now we want to convert the steps into algorithm. So step 1, start, we want to use oval. As usual, there is no declare I. That is step 2, we are going to assign. If you are going for assign, you want to use rectangle, assign I equal to 1. Then print input and output, you want to use parallelogram. Step 4, print I, it's a parallelogram. What is step 5? I equal to I plus 2. It's a process, it's a rectangle. I equal to I plus 2. And then step 6, condition. It's a diamond. So diamond, if I is less than or equal to 15. If it is a condition, you know very well, it's having only two options. One is true, the other one is false. If it is true, it will go back to step 4. Here you can see, go back to step 4, the print I. It will go back here. If the condition is false, the program will be stopped. It's very easy, right? So the next example is write an algorithm and draw a flowchart to find whether a student passed the C++ exam or not. Let me explain you the question. For example, let us say in C++ exam, if a student score more than 55 or more than 55, he pass. If he score less than 55 means he's failed. This is a logic. Using this logic, we want to write an algorithm and a flowchart. So what is the logic? If any students who score 55 and above means he pass, and less than 55 means he failed. Okay, this is a logic. We'll start with algorithm step 1, start. Step 2, declare a variable called as m. That is mark. We want to store the mark, only one mark. And read m. We are going to get the value for the mark from user. Step 4, if m is greater than or equal to 55, means that if anybody scored 55 and above, it means that it's pass. If the condition is true, it will print pass. If this condition is false, else part will get executed. It means that it will print fail and stop. Again, step 1, start. Step 2, we want to declare what are the variables we are going to use in the algorithm. So I need a variable to store marks. So I'm going to use a variable called as m. You can change. The variable name is optional. You can use any name, any valid name. And read. Read. If you wish to get a value from user, you want to use a keyword called as read. I will be getting the value from user. I'm going to store that value in the variable called as m. Step 4, if condition m greater than or equal to 55. And if the mark is equal to 55 and above, it means that it is pass. If the condition is true, it will print pass. If the condition is false, it will print fail. And step 5, stop. You're going to stop the algorithm. Now, we'll see how to convert this algorithm into flowchart. So step 1, start. Start means what symbol you want to use. Yes, it's over. Step 2, as usual, we are going to skip declaring. Why we are skipping this step? Since in programming, we cannot use a variable without declaring it. By default, it is by default. So I'm going to skip step 2. And step 3, reading. So if it is a read and print, you want to use parallelogram. You can see read here. And step 4, if. If it is a if condition, you want to use diamond. So here we use the diamond if m is greater than or equal to 55. If it is condition, only there are two options. One is true or false. If the condition is true, I'm going to print pass. If you want to print, you want to use parallelogram. If the condition is false, you want to print fail. If you want to print a value or a statement, you want to use parallelogram. And then I'll be using connector since there are two inputs. I want to make it as a single input. Then we are going to stop the process. Again, the flowchart starts with the symbol start, that is oval. Then we are going to read the m value. Once the value is there, we are going to check the value if the value is greater than or equal to 55. If the condition is true, we are going to print pass. If the condition is false, we are going to print fail. And we'll be using a connector to combine this two input as a single input. And we are going to stop the process. So I think you guys have enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching this video. If you have any queries and doubts, if you need more information, let me know through comments. See you in next video.